Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 185. In this episode, you're going to hear from Lisa Jara. Lisa is a soul-based life coach and cyclical women, apparently words are hard, cyclical wisdom guide. Lisa supports people in hearing, understanding, and listening to their inner wisdom, which is far greater than analytical minds can grasp. She helps them to slow down and savor the moments, both the good and the bad, so that they feel fully alive and stay true to themselves. Stay tuned, because I know that you won't want to miss this episode with Lisa. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today's guest is Lisa Jara. Lisa, thank you so much for being here. Excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So before we go any further, I've got to ask you, do you consider yourself ordinary or badass?
Although I often feel like I'm just an ordinary person, I think I'm pretty badass.
I love it. So what makes you feel badass?
Especially the journey I've been on in my life already, and everything I've uncovered in myself, and me just now being confident enough to share everything that's within me and step out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And be seen.
And that's the beauty of age. Sometimes, like, you don't always realize, your badassery or like what you're capable of when you're younger, but then like the older you get, the more you can kind of sink into it. So I love it. So have you always felt like a badass, or was there like a tipping point or something that like really triggered you feeling like, oh, I got this, I'm a badass?
There was definitely a turning point in my life. And I want to say, like, in my teens, early 20s, I think I tried to be a badass. And I sometimes, like, it was more like I tried to be one on the outside, how I thought a badass woman looks like.
Uh-huh.
And on the inside, it often felt more like a fraud.
Yeah.
And by now, through that turning point and my journey afterwards, it feels more like, okay, now I own my badassery.
Oh, I love that. So good. So Lisa, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Lisa. I work as a soul-based coach and support women who move through challenging life transitions or life crises, moments where we might feel like we've lost the ground underneath our feet, where our world has turned upside down, or when we find ourselves waking up one morning and not living the life that belongs to us, like feeling we're living somebody else's life. And that can be really scary. And so I support women moving through that in a way that feels good for them, because we're allowed to live our life in a way that works for us and nobody else.
Yes. And earlier you talked about like you help women who lose the ground under their feet. Can you talk about that process and how you help them?
Yeah, so it can be, for example, when you lose a loved one, or when you have a miscarriage, or when you lose your job that you loved. It doesn't like always have to be related to a person's death. It can be death of an identity. Think of women whose children are out of the house now, and what do they do with their life now? Those are the moments when we feel so vulnerable. Everything is unknown, and it's really good to have somebody to lean on while you find your way through it. So I see my role more as a guide back to your own inner wisdom, because only you know what's right and true for you, and then kind of help you when you found your truth, which I believe is easily found, also live it in the world, because we live in a world that tells us that what is inside of us is wrong, like our inner wisdom, our perception is wrong. And so the hard part is actually moving through life with the knowing what's right for us.
So how do we do that? Like, how do we tap into that inner wisdom that we have, tap into it more?
So like the most important question is, what would I like to have happen? Which is like, it sounds maybe simple or not, but like for a lot of us, it's hard to first decipher what it is that we would like to have happen. And I believe it's not actually hard, but we don't allow ourselves to want what we want. So always making sure, or making ourselves aware that we are allowed to want something, and first find out what it is that we want. And yes, there may be conditions out there, circumstances that you cannot change. That's okay. But within this frame of this and this and this I cannot change, there's always leeway for you to choose what you would like to have happen. And so like that's the question, that is like the first question I ask in a coaching session. And that's also my go-to question when I experience a challenge in my life. Like what would I like to have happen? And then maybe, and what support do I need in order to make that happen?
Yes, support is huge.
So yeah.
For the person that doesn't have support and they don't necessarily know what to do to figure out what they want, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I think everybody has support in their life who might often not be aware or don't dare to ask. So usually we have somebody that we can turn to, or there are even there are numbers you can call, or organizations you can go to for help if you really have nobody in your life who is willing to listen and to understand you. So I think the obstacle that we have to move through is that we don't dare to ask for support. Like it's our own inner voice that says, but if you ask for support, you look weak, or you have to go through life on your own. And I totally believe that life is not meant to be lived alone. We are totally deserving of support.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is, because I've struggled with that, definitely. Like, I have to do it all on my own. I have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think it's actually stronger to ask for help when you need it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It feels vulnerable, but there's so much strength in that.
Yeah.
And I believe that like the structures we live in, they contribute to us feeling like we have to do it all alone. And like all the separation that's taking place, separating people from each other. Like even today, it's hard to say your opinion on certain things because it might lead to a discussion, or even like a separation or whatever. But it's so important to be willing and curious to listen to one another. And we don't have to agree, but we like just being open and receptive.
So how do we break out of like these constructs or these societal norms that people expect from us? How do we break away from those?
Again, first question, what would you like to have happen? How would you like to live your life? And then at one point you will feel something coming up inside, and you can, for example, journal about it. Like get all these voices that tell you it's impossible what you want, get it out on paper. All the fears that you have, that people won't love you anymore, that people will leave you, that you will get punished, all of that needs to get out of your system. Because I like a lot of, I believe that's what trauma is. It's stuck energy in our system, stuck fears in our system. So it has to get out in some way. And if journaling is not your thing, there are wonderful other methods you can do. For example, tapping, and just getting this this feeling of emergency out of your body first, because after that, your head is usually clear for you to evaluate, assess your life, and see, okay, and where is this leeway I talked about? Where can I do something?
So how often do you journal?
I recently learned an interesting method. So I first will write a few lines about what I'm grateful for in my life. And even that can be hard for some people to find things they are grateful for. But think of the washing machine. You don't have to do all your washing with your hands like people had to do earlier. Or that you have a roof over your head, or that you've got electricity and probably even running water. Not everybody has that. So like start with very basic things if you have nothing you can think of, and then one leads to the other, and suddenly, oh, this quiet moment in the morning when I wake up and the world is still asleep can be a moment of gratitude as well. And so I write a few lines about that. And then, because it's always easier to move through fears when you come from a resourced state. And when you feel like, this is a good thing about my life, then you can go into the fears and just let it flow. Stream of consciousness, like just write down all the fears and everything that's coming through your head. Maybe set either a timer or tell yourself to write just one page, so that you know at some point there will be an end to that, because we can easily get trapped in these negative thoughts or like unhelpful thoughts. And when that's finished, either the timer or the page, then you go back into either a gratitude or like an envisioning of the life you want to lead, how you want to feel in it. And this trains our mind, our system to attune to the state we want to live our life in. And even though you might not feel it in the beginning, if you do this process over a few days and weeks, it starts to become more of a reality. And you find more things to be grateful for, and you find more things that are good in your life. And don't worry if in the beginning it doesn't work. Just don't give up.
Yeah, and I liked how you said the whole concept of like just writing a page or just setting a timer. I think that it can be intimidating sometimes, feeling like, oh, I got to write so much, or I got to come up with so much and I don't know what to say, or my mind is blank. So just like putting a small barrier there, like, okay, all you have to do is one page, or you have to do it for 2 minutes, and then you can increase the time later, but just start small.
Exactly. Like one page each, or like 5 minutes each, and then it's 15 minutes, which is normally a time you can carve out in your day, because you will realize over time that it feels really good in your whole system.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference at all when you do it as compared to when you don't do it?
Yes. I like right now I can literally feel every day when like I get a bit anxious and unsure of what to do, and then I know, oh wait, I haven't sat down today. So I go back to the journal and do that practice. And sometimes there are so many dark fears and all of that coming up in this middle part that I think, when is there an end to that? And I find that at the end of the page, my thoughts, like on their own, turn into a more positive state. So with this fixed intention of, okay, I write one page and not more, that already helps your system to really find a point where it turns around. And like afterwards, you feel elated and ready to do stuff.
So
I do.
Yeah. So what do you do, or what has been your journey to get here to where you are today and to get interested in really tapping into your inner wisdom? Can you share your journey with us?
Sure. So I have struggled with anorexia and OCD since I was 14, I believe. A lot of girls start at that age or earlier by now to think about their weight. I think it's like, I know it's something in our culture, like media and everything, and also how we are raised. And so this was an on and off journey for a while, depending on how resourced and well I felt in my life. Like there was a time when I met a group of people that became really close friends, and in that time it was easier to let go of these behaviors. And then it became worse again. I'd say about the time when I finished university, because up to that point there had always been this, I knew what my next step would be. So I would go to school, I would finish school, I would go to, like, for you it would be college, but like I would finish that, and then I would go to university and finish that, and then now what? And so suddenly this structure, I didn't have the structure anymore of what my next step was. And it was like, okay, now I can decide what I want to do, but what do I want to do? I wasn't sure about that. And so I put a lot of rules and regulations in place in my life of how things had to be, like how to clean or what to eat, what not to eat, how much to exercise. And it was this real rat race that got to a point where every day was such a struggle of conforming to all these rules that, well, I had set in place. And it was just draining, and like some of the rules, they were conflicting even. So I couldn't adhere to any of them. And there was one day I remember when I came back from running, and it was like, well, I am 30 now. If I have to do that for the next at least 40 years, no, thank you. I'm going to quit. And like that was the moment where I said or chose to get help, get support, and start my healing journey. And there was this one major turning point when I went into a mental health clinic for 3 months to work on the OCD and the anorexia. And at that time, I flourished. Like, despite all these challenges I was going through and the emotions that I got back in touch with, and that it was a hard and challenging time, and I still flourished because I was there. I didn't have to earn money. Like, I didn't have to conform to things my employer had set up for me, and so there wasn't a chance to be fired or to get fired. And so it was like a lid had been lifted off me, and I was just this vibrant, excited, passionate woman that talked to everybody in the clinic. Like, I became known as the co-therapist by all the other lovely humans in there, because I just enjoyed talking to them. I loved getting to know them and their stories, and something clicked for them, and they felt better resourced, and they found strength in themselves through our conversations. And so I knew, yes, this is how life is supposed to feel.
Yes, absolutely.
I took it from there and slowly made my way through my own healing journey into the place where I am today, and use this gift I have to support others.
So can you talk to us about that decision to go to the mental health clinic? I know sometimes there can be like a stigma around getting help for mental health, which, I mean, I think it's definitely necessary and helpful, but what were you thinking going in, and what gave you the courage to take that step?
I'm kind of lucky to have grown up in a family where seeing a therapist wasn't a bad thing, but a helpful one. So I didn't have to deal with this stigma inside of myself. So I was seeing a therapist, and she helped me to get into that specific clinic because I really wanted what they offered there. They were going a lot on the emotional side, like getting back in touch with the emotions, and they had a lot of one-on-one work. So for me, it wasn't that bad, but I certainly understand that in our culture, it's like you have failed when you need help like that. And I just, like, in this clinic, as I said, I talked to everybody there, and it was so revealing to see that every single one of them, like, we had the same core issue. It was always this lack of self-esteem or like self-appreciation. We always thought there's something wrong with us. We are not enough. We should be different. And for one, it played out as a depression. For me, it was anorexia and OCD. For others, it was something else, an anxiety disorder or whatever. But I think the root cause is that over time we kind of learn or are told or think from the reactions of others that we are not good as we are, and we have to become somebody else, something else, do certain things to get approval and validation from other people.
Yeah. And I imagine that must have been powerful, like being there and then seeing like, wow, we're all having the same issue, or at the core of it, at the root, it's all about the same thing.
Yes. And I mean, I think many can relate, even though they don't have to go so far as into a depression, but we all carry this within ourselves. No, there are certainly also people who are raised in a way that they believe in themselves and in their inherent worth. But I see a lot of people who aren't.
So how do you deal with that now? How do you have confidence, or how did you start gaining confidence back?
Taking steps, one step after another, tiny steps often. Being very accepting of how things are. That was definitely a skill I had to learn. Letting things be as they are. Bad day today, it's okay. Like, that has become kind of my mantra for especially bad days. Like, it's okay. You've shouted at your partner and you didn't want to. It's okay. It's not how you wanted to behave, but it has happened. It's okay, and you can learn from it. You want to curl up in a ball and cry, it's okay. Maybe do that, because it will help flush out the emotions that are currently stuck in your body. And just telling myself over and over again, it's okay as it is right now.
Yeah. And I mean, that's something that I've definitely been learning, especially probably over the last 5 years. Like you said, to let things be as they are, because so often we try to fix things or try to numb them with something else.
Oh, yeah.
And even if that's not, like, it doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol, but maybe it's spending, or maybe it's with food. You know, there's a million different ways to try to
Netflix.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think that that's great to, like, let it be as it is, and maybe just sit with that emotion and actually feel it.
Yeah, and that's something I think we have not been taught, like, being with the emotion. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but when you look at a small child that falls down, hurts themselves, it cries, and 5 minutes later it's happy again, it's playing with friends or whatever. So but they allow themselves to let it flow through, to experience the pain in the moment. Yes, it's uncomfortable, and you can go through. And it works faster if you don't resist it, because we so often resist it. We think it's wrong. We don't want to feel it. I completely understand that. I tried to suppress my emotions for a very long time by not eating and exercising. So just letting whatever is be, and then seeing how quickly things can change if we are that soft and receptive to the moment.
Yeah, and kind of expanding on your example with the child, it's also interesting to look at how often we say the child is crying and we're like, oh, it's okay, you don't have to cry, or you're fine, you're okay, you know, toughen up, or just whatever it is, instead of, like, just letting them feel their emotions or feeling how they want to feel for a minute.
That's the thing. Yeah, totally. I see that with friends, it's changing now. Like more and more parents are becoming aware of this and help their child to just experience and express whatever is there. But yes, and I even dare to say it's a form of gaslighting. It's unintentional, but
Right.
it negates the pain that is there in the moment.
So
And quite frankly, if somebody tells me, oh, it's going to be all right, it's okay, I'm like, screw you. But I'm feeling pain now. Why is my pain not valid?
right. Or it's like when somebody says, just smile. It's like, oh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
so I know that you talk about the quiet revolution. Will you talk a bit more about that?
Ooh, yes. So yeah, it's the revolution that I want to lead, and it's quiet, but it's powerful. And it focuses on our body wisdom and our inner authority to navigate life's ups and downs confidently. Because if we know ourselves and how we behave in certain situations, we can kind of be compassionate with us. We can be like, just sorry, lost myself here. We can be compassionate with ourselves and even adjust or adapt and learn from these situations. And so one part of this revolution, like, is that we look to ourselves to lead ourselves through life. It's a bit about what I've shared earlier, this what I like to have happen, accessing this inner wisdom, and then living that on the outside as well. And the other part is, I call it cyclical wisdom. For me, it's more than just menstrual cycle awareness. A lot of people only think about that. But for me, it doesn't depend on gender or body, but every human being is a cyclical being. And by finding and tracking, recognizing our own cycles and the phases where we have more energy or less energy, or where we are more easily irritated, it helps us adjust our lives so that it's more easeful overall. Doesn't always play out as we plan, because that's life. But those are like the two aspects of the quiet revolution. And like my goal, quite frankly, is that by looking at our inner authority and our body's wisdom, we erode the patriarchy from the inside out. And because like at one point, these structures that we live in that are toxic, they are going to crumble because there is nothing that sustains them anymore. And at that point, we have already practiced living according to this new way of being in the world, that we can immediately take over with the new way of living life and loving.
Yeah. But I think that also starts with us. We can't put it off to let somebody else do it. Like, I think it starts with us, and it starts in the now.
And that's actually why I call it the quiet revolution, because it starts with us, in us. Nobody sees it. It's not like going out on the street and trying to smash something, but we are the only one we have control over.
Right.
So it starts with us. And by attuning to ourselves and living with more ease and with more joy and doing things that we love, we automatically allow others to be themselves as well, because we are happy. So why shouldn't they become happy? And then others might see how good it is and even like ask, how do you do that? And this ripples out into the world.
Yes, such a big impact. Like, it might be like, how could it be an impact when it's quiet, but it's huge.
Yes, it is.
So you talked about this concept of cyclical wisdom. Can you explain what cyclical wisdom is and how you track it?
Yeah, so part of it is menstrual cycle awareness for those of us who that have a uterus and that are bleeding or not any longer. Because obviously, as a woman in post-menopause, you still have a cycle. It's just the moon cycle. And so we can track our mood, our energy level, how we feel in our body over the course of a cycle. And if we do that for several cycles, we will find patterns. Like there is a certain phase in your life, in your cycle, where you've got more energy, and at others you've got less energy. And then you can, if you like, find ways to adjust your days to that. And I don't say like, let's everybody take off over our menstruation time completely, but maybe you can ask a colleague to hold the meeting for you instead of being the host at that particular time. And just finding these little ways to tell our body and our system, it's okay that you are as you are. Yeah, and then there are, of course, the bigger cycles of life. There is the moon cycle, there is other seasons. So finding our way not only through our inner seasons, but also through the outer seasons. Which season am I more energetic, and which season suits me well, and where may I have to pay a bit more attention to myself and my well-being. And then the bigger cycles are the life cycles, the crises you go through, or for a woman, it might be receiving their menstruation for the first time, or coming into motherhood. It's a big transition. And I believe it's not enough talked about what a big transition it is. And also then going into going out of that phase and into the wisdom, the crone phase, like when you become a wise woman. And in our society today, aging is like a bad thing, it seems. It's when you become useless. But that's not the case. It's like over the course of your life, you have, as you shared earlier, you know your power, you have more confidence. So now that you are in that phase, you can be of service to the community if you wish. You can share this knowledge that you have to help others move through it. Yeah.
So something that came up for me when you're talking, like about the different cycles and how you're feeling, or how you might feel a certain way during different times of year or different times of the month. I know personally, I haven't been good at paying attention to my body and the signals and signs it's giving me. And so I could see that might be hard, or it might be challenging for people. What do you do to notice it? Like to notice what your body is telling you and when?
I track my cycle every day. And it doesn't have to take long. Again, like it's 5 minutes at most. Like in the morning, I write down the day of my cycle I'm on, maybe the moon phase I'm in. And in the evening, I track, so how was my energy level, like on a scale 0 to 100 or 1 to 10? What was my overall mood today? Was I maybe grumpy or easily irritated, or was I joyful? And then also, like, were there any body symptoms that I noted? Any pain or constipation or whatever it is that you experience? And then when you look at that over a few cycles, then you often start noticing these shifts. For example, I know that when I'm going into the premenstrual phase, which is like the time between ovulation and menstruation, I usually have a lot more energy. I get things done. Mm-hmm. I can be very discerning, but that's not for everybody like this. Others have it in a different phase. So knowing my phase, I can, and knowing from myself that I'm not so good at this like inner spring coming out of menstruation phase. I'm very slow, and I'm also very slow in my mornings. And if you look at the day, it has the same seasons, the same phases as every other cycle. So I'm very slow at that time, and I don't get a lot done. And then knowing that, I can be compassionate with myself and say, yeah, and it's okay.
Right.
And there will be a time when it's different. And also this, like we live in a world and we can't control a lot. But knowing these rhythms and that they come like every month, roughly for me, there is a kind of groundedness and stability and predictability that, like, not in a day, but over the course of a month, I will have these different phases. And it's something through which I learned to trust my body. Like, especially dealing with anorexia, I had totally lost touch with it. My body was just something that I had no control over. It never behaved as I wanted it to. But understanding her, and I call it my body her, understanding her rhythms helped me accept that, yes, now I might gain some weight and my head tells me that's a bad thing, but I know if I wait another week, it will all go down again. So I don't have to panic. And yeah, it's the cyclical wisdom has helped me a lot in also overcoming my anorexia, just by being more compassionate with myself and my body.
Yeah, I can imagine that could be powerful, because kind of a way to give yourself grace at times, or self-love, like, on your slow days that's just how it's going to be. But then also, like, for planning purposes, you could plan the days that you're like gonna get stuff done based on your cycle, how it's been in the past, or you can kind of predict a little bit better how you're going to be. And then I just see that as probably aligning to your own strengths more.
Yeah, totally. And I know that we are talking only about like the menstrual cycle being, but that's the one I know the best, obviously. It's like every month we are going through this transition of moving deep into our psyche in menstruation. We go deep within. A lot of fears and everything might come up, but they come up so that we can have a look at it and work through them, like one cycle at a time. And over time, over months and over years, you get so much more attuned to your own power. And it's just such a great feeling.
Yes, so good. I love that. So let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want.
Okay. First of all, I want to tell you who are in the arena right now something, which is that you are great. And you have got everything in you that you need to fight. And maybe you don't even have to fight, but move through it, move with it. And I believe in you. And if you don't see your light right now, that's okay. I can see it. And look for somebody who can reflect it back to you. It can be professional support. It can be a friend who is there to just hold space for you while you piece your life back together. But you have it in you. I believe in that. Life can be hard and you can do hard things. You've proven that already. And you don't have to do it alone.
So good. I love that. Ode to Beers. Listen to Lisa. You have a light, and look for people that will reflect that back to you. I think that's so powerful. So Lisa, how can we connect with you?
If you're interested in like really staying connected, subscribe to Soul Mail, which is my weekly-ish newsletter. I write it in tune with the moon to support you in doing exactly what I've described before, like attuning to your inner state throughout the different phases of your cycle. And you can also reach me through email or on Instagram and Facebook. And I suppose we will link all of that in the show notes.
Yeah. What's your handle on Instagram and Facebook?
It's both at lisajara.com.
Okay, perfect. Yes. And I will absolutely list that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Lisa. You've been a total badass, and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Thank you. It was so lovely talking to you.
And with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future Spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.